from New Zealand.
Yeah, and I'll do an opening for us. Tihei mauri ora, e whakawhetai anō mō tēnei rā, he whakamau mā haraki nā taonga tuku iho, nā maunga, nā awa, nā moana, nā rākau, nā manu. Hei tiri mō tātoa katoa o tātou wairua te anga, tangata kotahi, kia mahi taki ai, mō te au, tino pai, haumi e, hui e, taiki e. The life force of us all combined, we give thanks for this day. We remember the treasures that have been passed on, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, the trees, the birds are there for all of us to share. Our aim should be to build friendships so that we may work together for a better world, united together, together united as one. Back to you, Chloe.
Thank you so much, Jason. And I invite all of you, we're all on First Nation country, wherever we are joining from in the world. So feel free in the chat to put in where you are joining us from today. And if you know the name of the First Nation country that you're on, it'd be great if you could put that in as well. So then it's a great way for us to sort of get an idea of who is where, and who knows, you might find others that are local to you. So an acknowledgement of country and the opening is something that we do in every session as part of our respect and acknowledgement. So that's something that you will become very familiar with. So today we really want to get to know who is here today. So it's an opportunity for us each to share your name, your organisation, and where you're coming from. And you can also put this in the chat and sharing what you're passionate about and what you're looking to get from today's session. What inspired you to join us here today? So who would like to share? I suppose okay. I'll introduce myself to use my pronoun. Who's that? So I'm Chloe Beavers. I'm the co-chair for the Australia Chapter and part of the community of the Australasia Chapter as part of this global community of change makers. And I also have a social enterprise based here in Melbourne, Curate, and we're all about curating experiences for collaboration, engagement and learning to build the capacity of businesses and organisations and communities to make impact. And I'm here because I really want to connect with like-minded people and to hear about you, to meet you, and to look at how we can collaborate, because really that's how we can really leverage impact. So there's an example of an intro. Who'd like to go next? I think Oliver, you were looking to introduce yourself.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Oliver, and basically I'm by day I work at a company called ImpactX. It's like an startup ecosystem builder, and then by night I'm working on my own startup called Greencoat. It's in climate, and I guess what I'm passionate about is building a more just, equitable, inclusive, sustainable future for all. And I guess what brought me here, I met John through like a hackathon type of event through ASIP, Australian ASEAN Youth Strategic Partnership event, and I saw he's been involved in Catalyst 2030. I think I asked him about it a few months ago because I was just curious to learn more about what you guys do, and I got a message from him last night that there was this event today, so I thought I'd pop on, and super keen to learn more about what you guys do and what Catalyst 2030 does, and thank you.
And thanks for joining us, Oliver. Who else would like to share? So Mark and Ashish, if you want to turn your cameras on, it'd be great to meet you face to face. If you're not in a position to turn your camera on, that's fine too.
Hi.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, everyone. I'm just up in the Gold Coast on Yellow Girl Country. It's a beautiful day up here, and it's the Screen Producers Australia's annual conference called Screen Forever. And I'm up here sponsoring awesome 18-year-old young man called Blake Ogden, who is on autism spectrum and is the biggest film buff I've ever met. It's got a huge collection of DVDs. He was on the 7:30 report on the ABC recently, featured through a startup that I fund called Trevengers, based out of Sydney, run by a female founder called Agnes Abelson, who's Norwegian and has a autistic sister. So I wanted to come up with a solution to help autistic youth go on group travel with that is inclusive and accessible and with the right support and carers to facilitate. So he's up here with a carer, Alexandra, who's traveled up with him before. They go into this conference and there's a red carpet event in 3 hours, followed by the awards night. There's a whole bunch of producers, showrunners, Netflix, TikTok, Stan, Paramount. It's a real big event, and he's studying with Bus Stop Films program to pitch his productions. And so I guess that's part of the work I do to really try and drive impact and make a difference and really help out underrepresented and underprivileged, I guess, founders of diverse background.
Fantastic. Great to have you here, Mark. Sheesh, are you able to do an intro? And if you don't want to turn your mic on and share, you're also welcome to share in the chat, and we can relay that if you're not in a position to turn your mic on. So we also have Jason, Asha, and John, who are also part of the leadership team, who also would like to introduce yourselves. And recognising also Asha hasn't got a voice at the moment, not feeling well. So Asha will be communicating and participating via the chat today. Anyone else like to jump in and make yourself known?
I can speak next. Hi, everyone. I'm Oliver, Mark, Ashish. Happy to meet everyone. I'm John. I'm based in Brisbane, but currently back home connecting with family. But I'm coming home soon as well. I am facilitator and connector at Catalyst 2030, specifically in the Asia Pacific region. Back home here in the Philippines, I founded a youth nonprofit, which is pretty much around meaningful youth engagement, civic participation, climate action, mental health. Super happy because right now I'm just advising and really happy on the sideline, looking at the achievements of the officers and the members. I'm also doing my PhD on social enterprise and social networks in QUT. Yeah, so that's me. If you have any questions later after this call, I'm one of the persons to ask as well, alongside the co-chairs, Chloe, Jason, and Asha. So passing on to you, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, John. For everyone that's new to our Catalyst 2030 Australasia, we have these superpowers behind us, and John is one of them. So he's able to do some amazing things to help out all of our members when we have to go live. And so I just want to give a special shout out to the Secretariat. You'll understand as you learn more about Catalyst 2030. We have these Marvel comic characters from all over the world, and John is one of them, who flies in to Asia, and then he flies into Australia, and then he flies back to help us all do our digital and our connective stuff. And this is why we're able to be in the room. And he's one of many, but his unique skills are really invaluable for our Catalyst Australia and New Zealand and the other chapters that will come from Australasia. Just a little bit about me. I'm a barefoot Māori boy from Bay of Plenty, Wairarapa and Otago. I've traveled extensively around the world. I've lived in Japan, Sweden, Singapore, and Germany. Some of my interests are local cultures and Indigenous innovation. And this is how I come to be come to be in the Catalyst 2030 family. It was wonderful to meet Usher in person, and Chloe and John, and you know, I've been just following my spirit. I'm a manifesting generator. If you don't know what that is, look it up, and then you'll be able to understand me a little bit better. I love eating chocolate and smiling lots, and that's why I'm here in Catalyst 2030, because we can do meaningful things for our communities, but we can enjoy the things that we enjoy also. So that's enough about me. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions or reach out to me. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Australasian Catalyst 2030 with Usher Murphy. And yeah, I'm humbled to be in the room with you all today.
Fantastic. And so you'll see there, Usher has shared in the chat, my organisation is EduFi, working on creating accessible, equitable education resources, focusing on game-based and project-based learning. Very passionate about collaborating with anyone to break down silos and create systems change together. My background is my school and in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. Is that right? Did I pronounce that correctly? I am who I am because of my education there. Very blessed. Thank you so much for sharing that in the chat, Asha. So feel free to touch base with Asha, chat with her in the chat, and you'll also be able to follow up in the future sessions as you become part of Catalyst going forward. Fantastic. Excellent. So Ashish, would you like to share with the group? You're welcome to jump in. Either if you want to unmute and share with the group that way, or if you want to share in the chat, that's another option for you as well. Okay. So while we do that.
Yeah, and also while we're waiting, Mark, you mentioned around your wonderful community, for your autistic community that you're supporting and you work with. We have someone in Catalyst, Dr. Sharon, help me out, Asha Zikovic, is it Zikovic or Zavikovic, is it John? And she's been doing a lot of work now building out to make sure there's a really good respect for our wonderful autistic community. She's been really pushing boundaries in that corner. So if you want to reach out to her through John, and then I'm sure there'll be some collaborative magic that can come from that. She's currently based in South Australia, is that correct, Asha? And she was one of our chairs of Australia, which is now Chloe. Chloe came in to replace her, and because we all have this period of time to allow everyone to do it. So it's great to have Chloe on board, but Dr. Sharon Zikovic would be someone you'd want to reach out to, Mark. I think it would be really good in terms of that. Yeah, back to business, I suppose, or the not business, back to our social harmony of Catalyst 2030 in Australasia. Over to you, Chloe.
Thanks, Jason, and thanks for that context, and thank you for the acknowledgement. It is fantastic to be serving as chair here for Australia and also in communications with Australasia and Asia Pacific. And that's the, you'll see that, and we'll give you that intro now. We'll give you some of the background into Catalyst, and you'll see how this all fits together. What are these chapters that we're talking about? So let's go into that now and give you an insight. So firstly, we'll just mute when you're not speaking, and if you could turn your camera on, because it is all about collaboration, getting to know each other. So if we're able to have cameras on, all the better for us to be able to really build those relationships. And this is about collaboration and connection, and so feel free to engage, participate in the conversation with your mic on, or also in the chat. So whichever works for you. All right. So, the agenda didn't format properly there, but if you have a look there, we'll be giving you some of the background into the Catalyst overall and how we work as the Australasia context. And then we'll have some open conversation around how that works for you, and then we'll wrap up. So let's get into it, introducing Catalyst. So we do have a little video here. Okay, we've got some more people arriving, which is fantastic. All right. So the video's not playing. There we go. I think it's opened in another tab. Okay. That video is not jumping in. There we go. It has opened in another tab. I don't think you'll be able to see it. I'll just stop sharing and then I'll reshare so that you can see this fabulous video.
And better.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week. This year's Catalyzing Change Week is about solutions from the front lines by social innovators.
In 2022, Catalyst 2030 concentrated its efforts on bringing proximate leaders and frontline solutions to the forefront. Collaborations led by members from the Global South produced groundbreaking reports on climate and transforming education, with an emphasis on offering local solutions. We continued our mission to create an enabling environment for social entrepreneurs to flourish by initiating a letter to donors, signed by more than 1,200 social entrepreneurs and innovators. The Catalyst 2030 awards ceremony was spectacular, and the awards themselves welcomed by the private sector, governments, bio multilaterals and donors.
Catalyst 2030 as a movement is disruptive.
One of the best things I think that's come out of Catalyst 2030 so far is incredible collaboration across the ecosystem that just didn't exist before Catalyst came into being.
The thing I love most about Catalyst is that it's an open movement for social entrepreneurs around the world. I'd encourage anyone who's looking to be more connected with their local communities around social development goals to come along to Catalyzing Change Week.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week.
Fantastic to see you featured there. Jason, so did you want
representing. Oh, sorry, Chloe, what was that?
did you want to share with us how that came to be? How did you come to be?
Ollie, dinner.
Make them.
Oh, sorry, I've got an ad popping up there. Such is YouTube.
Yeah, I was. That was our governing council meeting, and a whole lot of us were asked a few questions of how we would feel it would be important for the Catalyzing Change Week. And so, so it was quite fortunate. There was 40 of us that gave snippets, so it was great to see Australasia was represented in the video, which is going out to all the different. All the different areas. So we're being represented in Australasia.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you for that. I can't access this other video, John. I don't have access to that, so we'll just have to skip past that video at the moment. Did you want to share it and then share that video?
You can do it for us.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing so John can share that video for us. There we go. Great.
Catalyst 2030 is a movement of social entrepreneurs and innovators embracing collective action to achieve the SDGs by the deadline 2030. Our 1,500 members are active in 197 countries. By emphasizing collaborations, Catalyst 2030 is leveraging the power of the collective to accelerate real change in the lives of billions of people around the globe. What do our members say about Catalyst?
Catalyst 2030 is an invaluable global community of impact entrepreneurs.
Our relationship with Catalyst 2030 has really taught us the power of co-creation.
Join Catalyst 2030 and network, bond, and collaborate with our family members.
And I like the spirit of bringing change makers together to share and learn from each other.
Catalyst really understands the transformative nature of collaboration.
It's also
a platform that can give us new tools and resources.
Catalyst 2030 has put my work on steroids.
But most importantly, to come up with solutions that are practical, ways where we can really make things happen, because social entrepreneurs are doers.
Are you a catalyst? Join us to achieve the SDGs.
Fantastic. It's so compelling and inspiring to see all that great work and the real impact that that's making for change makers around the world, and really recognising that we're not doing this on our own, and that because quite often if you're passionate, you're working on your own, you really want to make a difference, and you feel like it's all on your shoulders, and the planet can feel a bit heavy if you're carrying the whole thing on your own. So through Catalyst, we're carrying the world together, and the SDGs, for anyone who doesn't know, who's been living under a rock, these Sustainable Development Goals, which have been developed by the United Nations, really looking at what are the great challenges facing life on this planet, and drilled those down to these 17 key areas where we can really coordinate and leverage impact to address. So, all right, let's.
And just before we carry on, Chloe, yeah, when you're going to show some bits, I just noticed that Cameron came into the room. So Cameron, if you'd like to, John, just put that down for now for a second, some of the information. And then Cameron, we'd all just been giving a little bit of introduction for ourselves. Obviously, our chair for Australia had spoken, and our co-chair for Australasia. So you just tell the group here, and for the purposes of Catalyst 2030, some of the things you're doing and why you joined Catalyst 2030.
Yeah, sure. Well, Catalyst aligns perfectly with my personal mission, and which is completely framed in terms of attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. So at the moment, I'm involved in sort of a portfolio of different roles and activities, some of which are paid and some of which aren't. I'm the community manager for the Start Some Good Network, which is a community practice for for-purpose founders, and a venture partner for Yenatech, which is using blockchain to create a platform for micro investments into regenerative agriculture. And we've got a large site in northern India, just the other side of the mountains from Nepal, where we'll be doing agroforestry and using permaculture design to create a food forest for the local people. And my involvement with Catalyst 2030 has been mainly around systems change learning. I was participating in the Working Group 13, as it was known, looking at ways of helping more people learn about how to map systems and plan for systemic change. But my focus at the moment has sort of come full circle back to ecological restoration, biodiversity conservation, and so I'm looking at the next involvement with Catalyst to be a collaboration focused on SDG 15, the life on land. And so there's quite a lot of collaborations, but there's really not much focus on biodiversity. So I think there's a real gap and a real need there. We've still got 1 million species on track to be made extinct, which is about 25% of the species on the planet, many of them within the next couple of decades. So we've agreed globally 30 years ago at the Earth Summit in Rio to protect biodiversity with the Convention on Biological Diversity, but we're not doing too well. And climate change has a lot of focus, as it should, given the emergency and crisis. Hopefully it will only be, we can avoid complete apocalyptic outcomes, but we've already missed the boat on reverting to pre-industrial carbon levels. But there's not really, as far as I can see, there's not a lot of money, there's not a lot of focus on biodiversity. And that's something that I really resonate with and I'm called to focus on.
Brilliant, Cameron. We look forward to helping you in that journey around the biodiversity and your connectivity to the different communities. So thank you for that, and that was really good information that we can utilise going forward. I'll hand it back to you, Chloe.
Okay, thank you. And thanks, Cam, for that background and hearing your journey and how Catalyst aligns and with helping you to make impact. So as we heard in those intro videos there, that Catalyst is truly global and also local. So you can see there's look at the numbers there. We've got, well, there are the 17 SDGs, as we just talked about. There are 197 countries represented in the Catalyst community. And ultimately, we've already engaged and touched 1 billion lives. So this is all done through collaboration, through people being proactive in being part of the solution. So it was only just launched in January 2020, and we've achieved all of that in just 3 years. So Catalyst was really formed because it was recognising that there were a lack of resources. There were challenges around collaboration, particularly where there was people working in silos. And for us to be able to really tackle these solutions, we need to break those silos and be able to have an interdisciplinary approach around developing these solutions and disrupting some of the funding models, which have traditionally been all about competing against others to win the money, when it should really be look at, okay, what if we worked together? We would actually be able to deliver greater outcomes and more leverage for those resources. And then also having a more impactful voice in terms of influencing decision makers and also engaging decision makers as part of Catalyst. So looking at the big picture context here, we catalyse collaboration across sectors to unleash our collective potential for global systems change. And we're really working to do that by achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, because that's when the United Nations identified as being when we need to have achieved these goals by. So that's why we're called Catalyst 2030. So the time frame that we're working to is really written into our name. We're wearing our heart on our sleeves in the name there. We're really focusing around particularly these Sustainable Development Goals. And as you can see, if you look on the right there, the images representing those goals, they do cover social and environmental. So you've got people and nature really at the centre there, and really comes down to collaboration. So look at that, goal 17, that's one that is my core one, partnerships for the goals. We're looking at how we can look at collaboration, engagement and learning to really leverage that impact. So with this approach, we've really got these 3 objectives: to develop an enabling environment for social enterprises to flourish, and social enterprises being entities that balance people, planet and profit. And the second objective being to catalyse collaborative action. And so Catalyst has got some really effective systems. We've got some new systems that have come out that specifically create the opportunities for people to create a collaboration and for others to be able to see those collaboration opportunities and to be able to say, yep, I'll get on board with that. And then the third objective being to facilitate systems.
I think we lost our audio, or it's just me.
No, I can still hear you.
You can still hear me? Yep.
Sorry, it's in my end, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, and then the third being facilitating the systems change, learning and ecosystems. So here we're looking at how we can look at some of the big picture, sort of the in terms of like the government systems, how communities work, how countries work, how societies work, and also our local communities, so that then we can have more of a really that legacy impact by changing the way society operates, so that we can really embed these shifts into the long term. So we do that through really supporting, looking at the foundation being to support dominant cultures in their shift towards equity. And one of my focuses there is, for example, in terms of, what if social enterprise was standard practice for all businesses? So supporting the dominant culture, which is more from the paradigm of making money, shifting that toward balancing people, planet, and profit as standard practice. How amazing would that be? So that's a key focus around the support that we provide, and building and maintaining a movement of social change innovators, so that we don't feel alone. Having that sense of connection and community and camaraderie as we are a movement. So you can see here the theory of change. So you can see, I won't read through all of that. You can see there the gist of it, but you can see that we really have put a lot of work into putting together a system and really looking at what is the end game. Ultimately, at the end of the day, how do we know what success looks like? And you can see there we're really working. You can see there in the right there 3 horizons. So that's where we're looking at. We're really looking at the long game here. So we've got members all over the world, as you saw earlier, and members can be individuals or organisations. And we have, just to give you the context, so the General Assembly, it's like the United Nations. It's a fabulous experience to be in, because you go there and they're online, delivered through Zoom, and members from all over the world come into this assembly and look at what is coming up, opportunities for collaborations and opportunities for support, everything we've talked about so far. And you just have a look through all of the participants there, and literally countries all over the world are represented, and you really do get that empowering sense of, wow, I'm part of something bigger here. It's very, very impressive and very inspiring to be part of that. So, and you by becoming a member, you're invited to be part of that. So the Governing Council provides that strategic direction, and then you've got the working groups and the multi-member collaborations, and that's where it's very much a bottom-up network. So if you want to collaborate, you've got an idea for a project, you can put yourself out there and say, hey, who wants to do this with me? And create a working group, create a collaboration, or have a look at other ones that already exist and join in with the collaborations that are already happening. Now, we have regional and country chapters. So, for example, in our region here, we have the Australia chapter and the New Zealand chapter, which are country chapters. And then spanning those, we have the Australasia chapter, and then broader again, the Asia and Oceania chapter. So you can see the different scales of impact there. So we're again collaborating across the region as well. Now, we've got the task forces where they're really focusing on particular things such as communications, particular things such as the Catalysing Change Week, which is the week that we're in right now in terms of producing this major global event. And then the Secretariat. There is a network of passionate individuals who are living and breathing Catalyst and really doing a lot of the work to actually provide that support. And that's where we have John here, who is part, he's kind of our connection to the Secretariat there, as far as really being part of the crew to really do a lot of that work. You'll actually see he's organising the meetings, he's sending out the information about the minutes and updates on what's going on. So there are many collaborations and groups that you can join in with. And if you've already got things going on, you can plug that into this as well. You can connect your collaborations and your group into this ecosystem of impact. So you'll be able to have a look through and see, okay, which ones are really fitting the particular means of impact that you want to make and link up. So you can see here, this is the context for us. So you can see there the regional chapter, Australasia, local being the Australia and the New Zealand. So that's the context that we're looking at here today. So in terms of the Australasia chapter, so you can see that when you join Catalyst, you can join as an individual, or it may be that your organisation is aligned and wants to get on board as an entity as well. So you can see there are a number of logos of organisations that have formally adopted Catalyst as a means for collaboration and impact. And we are growing, and we can really see in the region that there's been so much momentum across Australasia as we organise ourselves to address the Sustainable Development Goals and ultimately improving quality of life on our planet. So for Australasia, we have, and here today with us, we've got Jason Jacobs and Asha Murphy here with us today, who are our co-chairs of Australasia. Is there anything you wanted to jump in and contribute, Jason or Asha, via the chat?
Yeah, and obviously this is only some of the members, because I think there's 90 odd, 95 or 96 in Australia, and there's now, I think there's 14 in New Zealand, and we're looking to 108. John's just put it up to date. So this is getting bigger. This family giving love to sustainable development goals is getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say with that. Chloe, back to you.
Excellent, thank you. And we have a number of subgroups that are working through. We're really focusing in on particular areas of passion. So, for example, Cameron mentioned he's very passionate about addressing biodiversity. So you can see there new that's actually come up fairly recently in terms of, hey, let's all get organised around addressing biodiversity. So, and you can see in terms of country chapters, I've got myself and Asha in terms of Australia, and then we've got Marissa, Russia, and Jason from New Zealand. And yeah, so in terms of the way we engage, we've introduced that we're having quarterly regional gatherings, and that's how we can actually keep connected and engaged as a community, the various members coming together, being in the loop with what's happening and the opportunities, and also for members to be able to say, hey, I've got something on, I'd like to like others to help me out with this thing. So feel free to be proactive in those and make the most of that opportunity. And then also monthly chill outs, because having that sense of community, because sometimes those that are our kindred spirits, those who are aligned with the work we're doing, are not necessarily nearby. And so this is a way for us to be able to connect more regularly as a community and be able to talk about those day-to-day things of, oh, this thing happened last week, or can someone give me some advice? Or even just in terms of building our relationships, spending time together and getting to know each other, having that social time. So we've got these links here, and so if we can just drop these links into the chat, so then you can follow and be part of the conversation on LinkedIn, Facebook, and also we have the microsite for Australasia. So you'll be able to go there, and that's where we'll be able to be posting articles and blog posts and opportunities and things that are coming up. So let's open it up now for conversation. What has come up for you from what we've shared in amongst this? What does this mean for you? What would it mean for you to be involved? How about you, Mark?
Yeah, Mark, are you still there? Would you? Or Ashish Gupta? Would you like?
Okay, would anyone else like to share?
Well,
just put something in the chat.
For me, I'm interested in learning how to use the collaboration engine of Catalyst. So, now with the new profile and platform, it's fairly easy to start a collaboration. You can just register it, but I'm wanting to work out what's the best process to most effectively set it up to grow to be successful. So do I recruit a core group first and then draft a basic concept note and then put that out there? So at what point do I put it public to the membership, and what supports are there from the Secretariat? Is there a particular person that liaises with the convener of each collaboration? So this is something that I'm wanting to learn about.
Yeah, that's an excellent question you raised there, Cameron. In terms of utilising the Secretariat, it's important that, so let's just take it, SDG 15 you're talking about, in terms of that group you're going to build out. One thing I've been doing in the different groups I've been attending for this Catalysing Change Week is just encouraging those particular individuals to really think strongly about, because in your case, you know the direction you want to go. And some of our members, they aren't so clear whether they should be in waste management, whether they should be in building out infrastructure, or whether they should be biodiversity. And so what I did say to some of them was that take the time to look around it, and when you want to utilize it, then you can try different things. So like last night, for example, and I suppose it's a good time to, because this is all the collaborative stuff, I decided, oh, you know what, we want to meaningfully grow out our Australasian chapter, and we want to do things. So I just followed the spirit of Catalyst with people and nature at the center, and I went into the Croatian chapter, and without any paperwork, we now have the Croatian chapter wanting to be a part of Australasian chapter. And that was just a simple declaration to the universe to say, hey, we are here, you are there, but we are all the same. We're all one. So if you want anything that we can offer, such as yourself in terms of the wonderful work you're doing in terms of biodiversity. And it was very interesting how it opened up the whole room. They were stuck. They were talking about, and they were talking about how they're going to build their relationships, how they're going to work together with France or with the chapters who've already landed in Europe. And then it took a weight off them. And then they, just by knowing that, hey, in Australasia, we've got Chloe, we've got Cameron, we've got Mark, we've got Usher, we've got Dr. Sharon, we've got ABCD, come along, come and have a look. And then the two heads of the chapter said, oh, we would love that, Jason, if we can ask questions to you as a chapter. And then so it would help us to build out what we want to build out in Croatia. Now, one thing I did premise to them was knowing where they stand is fundamental, because then once they are clear on where they want to stand, well, then they can then call out to their Catalyst family to support them. So I hope that helps a little bit, Cameron, in terms of that connective stuff, because then also it was the same with Zambia. So Australasian chapter now have 2 chapters without any paperwork, with just being spirit of generosity, and opened up that relationship. And I've already had a couple of emails saying, oh, I'd love to talk to a couple of your members. I'm doing a waste solution system in Zambia, in Lusaka, around what you're talking about in terms of biodiversity. And these conversations will come towards you and to others in our community, such as Chloe does fundamental stuff around communication. Well, that's going to help Croatia chapter, because when they come, and so that was something that isn't, I just went with the spirit of generosity and with people in nature at the center, and looking at the partnerships which Chloe was talking about, SDG 17. And I know we don't know what will come from it, but the beautiful thing is we're coming with our set of Catalyst values.
Oh, thanks so much, Jason. That was a great recap. Was there anything you wanted to add, John?
Yeah, I was just chatting with Cameron separately also, but I was just telling him, so there's a collaborations department or POC at the Secretariat who's Mishri. So we're going to be linking up with her so that we can make the biodiversity group happen. So I initially asked Mishri if there's an existing group already, and she was mentioning there's none. So there's a demand for it also, because I think the other regions are also wanting to do one. So definitely this is an exciting development coming out of Australasia with Cameron at the helm. Yeah, I guess that's it. And you also know we're all familiar with the members portal, so it's something that we can utilize in terms of, you know, popularizing and making it public in terms of what we're hoping to do as well, and recruit members later on.
Well, maybe now's the right time then, because it was actually at the one of our previous chapter sessions, I think it might have been the regional assembly, where we first talked about the idea of a new biodiversity focused collaboration, and we sort of decided then to do it. And there was a number of people who committed to be involved. And I've thought of a name and I want to launch it here. And I've checked and there's no other organization or brand in the world that uses this. There is some oil that I saw a reference about 10 years ago, but it's silvorum. And it's from the two Latin words silver, which means forest, and aurum, which means gold, signifying the precious and valuable nature of forests and biodiversity and ecosystems. So the idea is that that name encapsulates the collaboration's dedication to biodiversity restoration and regeneration efforts. What do you think? Cool. So there's a brand. One thing that I've noticed is that, and I'm not sure if there is this functionality within the platform, but as far as I'm aware, it can't be used as a tool for governance and collective decision making and sort of coordination. So I'm thinking to set that up in parallel, and in the spirit of being a sociocracy and non-hierarchical organization, because while I'm notionally convening it, I'm not the boss of it. So I'm going to use a framework that and set up a distributed autonomous organization that uses blockchain as a means of tying it all together. So that could be that would be a learning experience for me. I'm going to use one called Haifa, and I'll put a link to that in chat for anyone who's interested.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Are there any other closing remarks before we do the closing? Any last points? Okay, in that case, I'll hand over to Jason. It's been such a pleasure to be here today and to reconnect and have these conversations. It's always inspiring. And so, so handing over to Jason, who will give us the closing.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you all in the room. And Cameron, that was excellent to show how quickly we can move, you know, so all those operational things have been placed and now you can get into the stuff I know that you love and you want to do and contribute to community. And I know that this will open up opportunities for other chapters and for other people in the room and those who are not in the room that couldn't be here. So thank you, everyone. And Chloe, wonderful job of illustrating very clear and very concise of how the heartbeat of Catalyst 2030 is looking to keep beating across the globe. John, we can't thank you enough. And Usher and Cameron and Mark and Ashish, wonderful to be in the room. And so I'll close it off with just a very simple, this karakia. We didn't get it in today, but I'll, behind me there was this little backdrop. Now that backdrop is a photo from 117 years ago. And it's a river that I used to play in a lot when I was a kid. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a few of my ancestors that are sitting on the bank there. And now in terms of the biodiversity and looking after the land and loving the people that you want to have in existence. So that was 170 years ago, and I thought it was appropriate because Catalyst is much older than that. Australasia is much older than that, but it was just to illustrate a small, that's at 117 years ago. And now if I just quickly show you, this is it today. Oh, 1 second. This is it today, and this is how I knew it as growing up as a kid and swimming there every day. And so that's that's a little bit of a connective biodiversity thing that Cameron was talking about. So I've been enjoying these waters, and that's how I learned to swim, and I used to be in there all the time. And our ancestors from 117 years ago, that photo was taken in 1906, and this photo was only taken in 2023. So I thought it would be a good one to close on. And then the little blessing here is actually from that area that you saw. And one of our ancestors had put it, and this is how it goes. Tihe mauri ora, kia tipu nā rākau, kia puawai nā hua, kia waiata nā manu, kia tau, kia tau, kia tau e. Haere mai te aua tanga, homi e, hui e, tai e. The trees have grown, the flowers have bloomed, the birds have flown, the forest is settled, it is settled, it is settled, it is settled. Let the peace be amongst us, let us all be as one, together, united, together as one. So have a wonderful day and evening, and I look forward to catching up to you all in the near future. Aroha nui.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, as always, Jason. Thank you. And here are the socials again to join with us and stay engaged.
Yeah, look forward to helping your people and communities.
Bye all. Bye all.
Bye.